Every wound on your life carries a signature. Not luck, not fate, a decision. And most men die without ever finding out whose hand signed it. That's the part we're fixing today. Buddhism figured this out 25 centuries before therapists started charging for it. Cause and effect. Karma, not some mystical scoreboard in the sky. Mechanics. Intention creates action. Action creates patterns, and patterns create the life you're living. Throw a stone in water. The ripples move whether you're watching or not. Your thoughts are stones. Your choices are stones. Your desires are stones. You've been throwing them your whole life and blaming the water for getting wet. Here's what nobody tells you about karma. It's not comfort, it's an accusation. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly who it's pointing at. Start with the part that breaks most men first. Nothing lasts. Not the body you're in right now. Not the woman who left. Not the job that cut you loose. Buddhism calls this anicca, impermanence. It's one of the first truths the Buddha asked his followers to see clearly. Everything that arises will eventually change. The thing disappears, and if you've built your entire identity around that thing, you feel like you're disappearing with it. Marcus Aurelius knew this better than most. Roman emperor, buried his own children, still ran an empire while grieving them. He wrote something that sounds gentle until you actually sit with it. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Read that twice. He's not comforting you. He's telling you the universe was never renting you anything permanent in the first place. And that's exactly where Buddhist thought begins to cut deeper. You suffer when you demand permanence from something that was always changing. The Buddha called this dukkha, suffering, not simply pain, but the friction created when reality refuses to become what you want it to be. Daniel trained 4 years for one shot at a regional title fight, not amateur hour, the real thing, the one that changes a career. 3 weeks out, his knee gave on a routine sprint. Meniscus torn past repair. The doctor's exact words, "You're done at this level." Daniel spent 2 months in his apartment replaying that sprint, frame by frame, hunting for the version where his knee holds. He didn't find it. What he found instead was a 16-year-old kid at his old gym that nobody believed in, and a friend who wouldn't stop bothering him to come coach the kid for a week. That week turned into a year. That kid is now ranked nationally. Daniel's built a program that's produced 4 regional champions since. The knee that ended his career built 4 other men's careers instead. He didn't see that coming. Neither did the kid. That's the part that should scare you a little in a good way. You don't control what changes. You control what you do after it changes. That's impermanence. But it's also the Buddhist understanding of karma. The event happens. Then your intention toward that event creates what comes next. Genghis Khan was 9 years old when his father was poisoned by a rival clan on the road home. The moment word got out, his own tribe abandoned the family, stripped them of everything, and left his mother to raise 5 children alone on the open steppe. For years they survived on roots and whatever they could hunt, outcasts with no rank and no protection. That kid with nothing built the largest land empire in human history, not despite the abandonment, because of it. He learned at 9 that loyalty is earned and protection is never guaranteed, and he spent the rest of his life making sure he'd never be powerless again. That's impermanence, working in your favor, whether you asked for it or not. But Buddhism would ask you to look even deeper. What happened to you is one thing. What your mind does with what happened is another. Now here's where most men get karma backward. They think karma means being punished for sins, some invisible scoreboard keeping tabs. Wrong. In Buddhism, karma is closer to intentional action. Every thought you repeatedly feed becomes easier to think. Every behavior becomes easier to repeat. Every repeated behavior becomes a pattern. Every pattern shapes your character. You're not cursed. You're conditioning your mind, and you've been conditioning it since the day you started thinking. The Buddha put enormous emphasis on the mind because he understood that your external life is constantly being influenced by the internal habits you keep rehearsing. I used to think my bad luck with people was random, friends who used me, deals that fell through for no reason I could name. Then one night I mapped every failed relationship on paper, start to finish. Same pattern every single time. I picked people who needed saving because saving them let me avoid looking at what needed fixing in me. Nobody cursed me. I recruited it, one bad decision at a time, and called it bad luck because that hurt less than the truth. That's karma in a form you can actually use, not punishment. Cause and effect. Look at the causes and you can begin changing the effects. Malcolm X went to prison in 1946 for burglary. 20 years old, barely literate, headed nowhere. He didn't get released early for good behavior and coast. He picked up a dictionary and copied it, page by hand, until he understood every word in it. Then he read everything else he could get his hands on, by the light bleeding in from the hallway, after lights out. 7 years later, he walked out and became one of the most electrifying speakers of the 20th century. Same man, same sentence, different use of the time inside it. That's the accusation part. He didn't get a different set of circumstances than most inmates. He got a different relationship to them. Buddhism would call your response part of the chain of causes. You can't always control what enters your life, but you can become more conscious of the intention, action, and reaction that follow. This is your reminder to hit like right now, because what comes next is where most men tap out mentally, even if they keep watching. Attachment is the trap nobody warns you about because it looks like love from the inside. You cling to a woman, a job title, a version of yourself you built in high school and never updated, and you call that clinging loyalty or ambition. It's neither. It's fear, dressed up nicer. Buddhism calls this tanha, craving. The mind says, I need this to stay, I need this person, I need this outcome, I need this version of myself. And the moment reality refuses, suffering begins. Musashi understood something similar better than almost anyone who ever lived. He said to accept everything just the way it is, not control it, not fix it on your terms, accept it, then move. That's remarkably close to the Buddhist practice of seeing reality clearly instead of constantly fighting it in your head. A man who needs a specific outcome to feel okay has already lost, because life was never going to negotiate with his need for control. You can want something with your whole chest and still hold it loose enough that losing it doesn't gut you. That's not weakness. That's the only real strength that exists, because the alternative is building your whole foundation on something that was always just renting space in your life. Here's the mechanism most men never catch. Suffering isn't punishment, it's information, and information is only useless if you refuse to read it. Buddhism doesn't teach you to run away from suffering, it teaches you to understand it. The Buddha's first noble truth begins with dukkha. Life contains suffering, dissatisfaction, instability, loss. The point isn't to become depressed about it. The point is to stop being surprised by reality. You don't need to ask why life contains pain. You need to understand what your mind does when pain arrives. Think about the worst thing that ever happened to you, not the second worst, the worst. Now ask, what skill, what boundary, what piece of self-respect you built directly because of it? Can't find one yet? That's not proof this is wrong. That's proof you haven't finished processing it. Give it time. The lesson's already inside the wound. Wounds just open faster than they teach, but don't become attached to the wound either. Your suffering is not your identity. Buddhism would tell you to observe it, understand it, and eventually let it move through you. Acceptance doesn't mean rolling over. It means you stop burning energy, fighting what already happened, and redirect all of it into what's next. A farmer who curses a drought gets a curse and nothing else. A farmer who studies the drought learns to dig deeper wells. Same event. Two different men, only one survives the next one. This is where mindfulness becomes practical. You don't have to control every circumstance. You have to become aware of your response before your response controls you. The men who understand this stop asking why me. They start asking what now. That single shift rewrites the trajectory of a life, because why me keeps you facing a door that's already shut, and what now turns you toward the one still open, the one you haven't tried yet. Buddhism takes that one step further. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is happening inside my mind right now? Watch the anger, watch the fear, watch the craving, watch the story. You don't have to become every thought that appears in your mind. Everything that's happened to you was caused. Everything that happens next is still unwritten, and that's not a comforting platitude. That's a loaded weapon sitting in your hands right now, whether you pick it up or not. Your next intention matters. Your next action matters. The Buddhist path is built around this idea: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Start by becoming conscious of what you're feeding. Most men will watch this, nod, and go right back to blaming their exes, their bosses, their luck. A small number will actually sit with the discomfort of realizing they've been participating in the construction of their own patterns. That small number is the only group that ever changes anything, and there's no way to know which one you are until you test it. Everything happens for a reason. But Buddhism gives you a more useful question than simply asking why. What caused this? What am I clinging to? What am I feeding? And what can I choose now? Because you can't stop everything from changing. You can't control every person who enters your life. You can't prevent every loss. But you can train the mind that meets those things. And once you understand that, you stop waiting for life to become easier before you become stronger. You start practicing now, because everything changes, everything passes, and the man you are today will eventually disappear too. The only question is what you're creating before he does. Thank you for watching. For more raw, uncut wisdom, join me on Patreon. Also, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you can see more YouTube videos. I'll see you in the next one.